I'm Dr. J, and I speak to dead people. On the 25th of May, 1961, President John F. Kennedy announced the goal of putting a man on the moon before the end of the decade. With almost none of the technology invented to make it happen, this was the original moonshot, a great, big, hairy, audacious, near impossible goal. When Neil Armstrong took that first small step just over 8 years later, it was more than a giant leap for humankind. It showed each of us what was possible in our own lives, if only we were audacious enough to dream up our own moonshot. What few know was the monumental task that Neil faced when he returned to Earth. An introverted engineer was now the most famous man alive, grappling with celebrity and the world's relentless expectations. You're about to discover what it takes to realize a moonshot and how to be true to yourself when you do. Neil Armstrong, are you there?
Yes, Justin, I am here.
Neil, in 1961, when John F. Kennedy announced the goal of getting a man to the moon, what did you think of the chances of that actually happening?
Honestly, Justin, at the time, it felt like a monumental challenge. The technology and knowledge required were beyond what we had, but there was a strong sense of determination and optimism. We knew it would be incredibly difficult, but there was a collective belief in the possibility of achieving it. It was a leap of faith and a testament to human ingenuity.
And what about the chances of you being the man to put foot on the moon?
Back then, I honestly thought the chances were quite slim. There were so many talented and capable astronauts in the program, and the selection process was rigorous. We were all focused on contributing to the mission in whatever capacity we could. The idea of being the first person to walk on the moon seemed like a distant possibility.
Neil, going to the moon has become a symbol of achieving the impossible. The phrase, "What's your moonshot?" has become a way of asking people what their great, big, hairy, audacious goal is. My good friend John Sana even wrote a best-selling book called "What's Your Moonshot?" But going to the moon wasn't really your moonshot, was it? You've said that you never really had a dream of going to the moon.
That's right, Justin. Going to the moon wasn't a childhood dream of mine. My path was more about a love for aviation and exploration. I was deeply passionate about flying and testing aircraft, which naturally led me to the space program. The moon landing became a goal as the space race intensified. But it was more about being part of something historic rather than fulfilling a personal dream. It was a remarkable journey that unfolded.
When I heard that you never actually had a personal dream of going to the moon early on in life, what struck me is how that contradicts some of what we learn and some of what I've even taught in the goal achievements field, which is that you need to have this specific goal and focus on it relentlessly. What I hear from you is that actually you focus more on the joy of aviation. You knew that you wanted to fly from early on, right? That was the dream. And so you were focusing more on the process than the outcome.
Exactly, Justin. My passion for aviation was the driving force, not a specific end goal like going to the moon. I found joy in the challenges and experiences of flight itself. By focusing on the process and honing my skills, I was ready to seize opportunities as they arose. It's a reminder that sometimes being open to where your passions lead can result in extraordinary achievements.
I also wonder if the idea of a moonshot is less important than focusing on your passion. Of course, the word passion is an interesting one. It actually comes from the Latin to suffer. We talk about the passion of the Christ, is the suffering of the Christ. And that, to me, says that we need to be willing to suffer, willing to endure the challenges and difficulties, the inevitable obstacles in service of our love.
That's a profound point, Justin. Passion, in its truest sense, does involve a willingness to face hardship and persevere through difficulties for the sake of what you love. My journey to the moon was filled with challenges, but my passion for aviation and exploration kept me moving forward, even when the path was uncertain. It's a reminder that pursuing what you truly care about often requires resilience and a commitment to the journey, not just the destination.
I think it was Martina Navratilova who said the moment of triumph is just a moment. I imagine it was more than a moment being on the moon, but that outcome is temporary, right? That's a very small proportion of your life.
Absolutely, Justin. The moment on the moon, while monumental, was fleeting in the grand scope of my life. The journey, the preparation, the countless hours of dedication and the challenges we overcame is where the true substance lies. It's a reminder that while moments of triumph are significant, they are often the culmination of a much longer and richer experience. The journey is where we grow, learn, and find meaning.
And I know the journey back to Earth, and I mean getting used to being, at the time, the most famous man alive, was itself quite a task for you. And we'll get there shortly. But firstly, I want you to take us, Neil, to that moment. 9:32 a.m., July 16th, 1969. You're sitting in the command module at the top of Saturn V, the size of a Navy destroyer with 1 million gallons of kerosene that, if exploded, would have the force of a small nuclear weapon. What did that moment feel like just before liftoff?
Sitting in the command module, knowing the sheer power of the Saturn V beneath us, the feeling was a mixture of intense focus and anticipation. The enormity of the moment was palpable. We were calm, though, laser focused on our tasks. Years of training had prepared us for this, but the weight of history was undeniable. It was a moment of quiet reflection amid the controlled chaos, knowing we were about to embark on a journey that would change the course of history. As the countdown reached 0, it was as if all the world held its breath with us.
I'm holding my breath with you right now, Neil. The rocket takes off. Take us to that point when Saturn V separates from Apollo 11. I mean, this is a complex piece of machinery.
When the Saturn V launched, the force was immense, pressing us back into our seats. As we ascended, the rocket stages separated with a jolt, each stage performing its role in pushing us further from Earth's gravity. The separation from the final stage, when Apollo 11 was on its own, was a critical moment. It was a smooth transition, a testament to the incredible engineering behind it. Suddenly, we were weightless, floating in the vastness of space, realizing that the moon was now within reach.
You and Aldrin go into the lunar module. Collins stays in the command module. And now you are descending to the moon.
That's right. As Buzz and I descended in the lunar module, the surface of the moon came into clearer view. It was a surreal experience, a mixture of awe and intense concentration. The lunar surface was unlike anything we'd seen before, covered in fine dust with craters and rocks casting long shadows. As we got closer, we had to manually navigate to avoid a rocky area, adding to the tension. It was a delicate dance, balancing the lunar module as we approached our landing site.
Now, you didn't expect this, right? This was an obstacle at the final frontier. You were heading for a boulder-strewn crate, and you had to make some very quick decisions.
Exactly, Justin. With fuel running low, we had to act swiftly. I took manual control to find a safer spot to land, which required making split-second decisions. It was a tense few moments, balancing the lunar module's controls, scanning the surface, and ensuring we landed safely. When we finally touched down, it was a tremendous relief. We had made it, to the Sea of Tranquility.
The Sea of Tranquility. Hard to imagine tranquility after what you just had to navigate. I mean, people have spoken about your quick thinking. What happens in that moment when the unexpected arises? You've spoken about rehearsing the unexpected, rehearsing those unforeseen obstacles. Had you visualized this as a possibility?
We had trained extensively for unforeseen scenarios, including landing challenges. While we hadn't visualized that exact scenario, our training emphasized staying calm and thinking clearly under pressure. We rehearsed countless contingencies, so when the unexpected happened, it was about applying that training. It became a matter of quickly assessing the situation, making decisions based on our training, and trusting our instincts. It was a combination of preparation and the ability to adapt in real time.
This is such an important point. So much of the goal achievement field focuses on the visualization of the outcome. Yet research out of New York University by Gabriela Oretingen finds that the people who actually achieve goals are the ones who are visualizing the obstacles. So when they find that boulder-strewn path, they don't go into a pity party. They don't get disappointed. They get into action mode. They deal with it in the way that they have rehearsed.
That's exactly it, Justin. Training for the unexpected and mentally rehearsing how to handle obstacles prepares you to respond effectively when challenges arise. It's not just about focusing on the desired outcome, but also being ready to adapt and overcome when things don't go as planned. Visualizing the obstacles and having a plan for them builds resilience and ensures that when you encounter setbacks, you're ready to face them head on, just like we did on the way to the moon.
You land the lunar module. Oh my gosh. What was that like to be on the surface of the moon and take those first steps?
Landing the lunar module and stepping onto the moon was a profound experience. The surface was still and quiet, unlike anything on Earth. As I descended the ladder and set foot on the lunar surface, I was struck by the stark beauty and desolation. It was a moment of awe and humility. Realizing how far we had come, I was aware of the significance of the moment for all of humanity. It was a small step for me, but it felt like a giant leap for mankind. It was an incredible privilege to be part of such a historic moment.
So Neil, let's stay with you on the moon. Tell us what you can see. Can you see Earth?
Yes, Justin. Standing on the moon, I could see the Earth in the sky, a beautiful blue marble hanging in the blackness of space. It was a bit surreal, seeing our home planet from such a distance. The lunar landscape around me was stark and desolate, with a gray, dusty surface stretching out in all directions. The horizon was closer than on Earth, curving away more quickly due to the moon's smaller size. It was a stark, otherworldly scene, but the sight of Earth brought a sense of connection and perspective.
You said that you put up your thumb, shut one eye, and your thumb blotted out the planet Earth. And in that moment, you didn't feel like a giant. You felt very, very small.
That's right. It was a humbling experience. The vastness of space and the smallness of our planet in the grand scheme of the universe put everything into perspective. In that moment, I felt a deep sense of how interconnected and fragile life on Earth is. It was a powerful reminder of the importance of taking care of our planet and each other.
Some people have credited this with the environmental movement. So you're seeing the fragility of Earth. Maybe that goes a little bit further back to when Bill Anders took that famous Earthrise image that was a year before, right? That was on Apollo 8, that first crewed mission to orbit the moon.
Yes, the famous Earthrise photo during Apollo 8 had a profound impact on how we view our planet. It was the first time humanity had seen Earth from that perspective, a delicate, vibrant sphere in the vastness of space. This image, along with the experiences of those of us who traveled to space, certainly contributed to a greater awareness of our planet's fragility and the need to protect it. It sparked a new consciousness about our environment and our responsibility to preserve it.
I found that image so moving. I had it blown up on a wall in an apartment that I stayed in, and every day I was reminded of our smallness and our place in the vastness of the universe. But you were there, Neil. You were there. So on the moon, did you see an Earthrise?
Yes, Justin. We did witness an Earthrise from the moon. It was an awe-inspiring sight. Watching our planet rise above the stark lunar horizon, it felt like a reminder of the unity and interconnectedness of all life on Earth.
Sometimes when I get a little too caught up with the small stuff in my own life, I think of that image. I think of our place in the universe, and I find that gives me solace to remember how small we are.
That's a powerful perspective, Justin. Remembering the vastness of the universe and our place within it can put things into perspective. It's a reminder that while our individual concerns are valid, they're part of a much larger picture. Finding solace in that view can bring a sense of peace and a reminder of our shared humanity. It's a perspective that can help us navigate the challenges of life with a bit more grace.
Now, you are on the moon. The somewhat unwieldy lunar module is there with you, and the command module that Collins is in is orbiting the moon, right? That is your ticket back home. You've got there, but you've got to get back. And there is no guarantee that you are going to make it back. So much so that President Richard Nixon has a condolence speech prepared, which begins, "Fate has ordained that the men who went to the moon to explore in peace will stay on the moon to rest in peace." What did you think were your chances of making it home?
Justin, we were well aware of the risks involved. Space travel is inherently dangerous, and there were numerous unknowns. We had confidence in our training, the engineering of our spacecraft, and the support from mission control. But we also understood that success was not guaranteed. The possibility of not making it home was real, but we focused on the mission and our tasks at hand. Dwelling on the risks wouldn't have helped. We had to stay focused and rely on our preparation to give us the best chance of returning safely. It was a calculated risk, one we were willing to take for the sake of exploration and discovery.
Did you think of your death at all? Did you think of being stranded on the moon? Did you think about how you might die? Or were you able to really compartmentalize, to put that aside and focus on the matter at hand?
There were moments, Justin, when the reality of the risks we were taking crossed my mind, including the possibility of not making it back. However, we were trained to compartmentalize those thoughts and focus on our mission. It was crucial to maintain a clear mind and concentrate on the tasks at hand. Our training emphasized staying focused, problem solving, and working through any challenges that arose. While the risks were real, we couldn't afford to dwell on them. Our focus had to be on executing the mission and ensuring we did everything in our power to return safely.
So, Neil, to somebody out there who's struggling with worst case scenarios, who's dealing with something difficult, maybe not getting to the moon, maybe it's something to do with their relationship or their child or their finances, and they know that there's a possibility that things are not going to work out, how do they bring their focus back to dealing with this rather than getting caught up in those worst case scenarios?
That's a great question, Justin. Here's what I'd suggest. First, acknowledge the fear and the worst case scenarios. It's natural for our minds to go there. Then, shift your focus to what you can control. Break down the situation into manageable steps and focus on actionable solutions. Ask yourself, what can I do right now to improve the situation? By taking concrete steps, no matter how small, you can start to regain a sense of control. It's also helpful to practice mindfulness, staying present, and not letting your mind spiral into what ifs. And finally, lean on your support network. Talking things through with someone you trust can provide perspective and emotional support. Remember, it's about focusing on what you can do rather than getting lost in worst-case scenarios.
Is that what you did? Each one of those, the breaking it down into manageable parts, focusing on solutions, mindfulness?
Yes, that approach was integral to how we operated during the mission. We were trained to break down complex tasks into manageable steps, focusing on what needed to be done moment by moment. This kept us grounded and prevented us from becoming overwhelmed by the magnitude of the challenges. Staying present and mindful helped us maintain clarity and focus. And, of course, focusing on solutions and working through problems methodically was key to navigating the unexpected challenges we encountered. It was a combination of these strategies that enabled us to stay focused and perform effectively under pressure.
My favorite question for when I am facing difficulty, challenge, is quite simply, what can I do about it? And I write down 3 to 5 solutions. Some of them might even seem like crazy solutions, but I want to get lots of solutions because we usually only need one, but we need lots of solutions to get good solutions. And I find just asking that question and coming up with those answers, I'll write them down if it's something I'm really struggling with, but even just in my own mind, if it's in the moment, takes me away from worst case scenarios. It takes me away from rumination or worrying and gets me focusing on fixing this.
That's a fantastic approach, Justin. Asking what can I do about it shifts your mindset from problem-focused to solution-focused. It empowers you to take action, even if the steps seem small or unconventional. Brainstorming multiple solutions opens up possibilities and can lead to creative problem solving. Plus, as you said, you only need one good solution to make progress. It's a proactive way to break the cycle of rumination and focus on what you can change. It's practical and empowering.
So Neil, you now get that lunar module back to reconnect with the command control module, and you are now heading back to Earth. This entire trip is 8 days, right? So when you are now back reconnected with the command module, how long does it take you to get back to Earth?
It took us about 3 days to travel back to Earth. The journey was a time for reflection and anticipation. We were proud of what we had accomplished, but also focused on the precise maneuvers required to ensure a safe return.
You've got to re-enter the atmosphere at 24,000 miles an hour. And if you hit this too hard, you're going to burn up, right? And too shallow, you're going to bounce off like a stone. So this is potential stealing defeat from the jaws of victory, right?
Exactly. Re-entering Earth's atmosphere was a critical and intense phase. We had to hit the narrow entry corridor at the correct angle. Too steep, and we would burn up from the intense heat of re-entry. Too shallow, and we would skip off the atmosphere back into space. It required precise calculations and execution. Thankfully, our training and the meticulous planning of our team ensured that we navigated this phase successfully, leading to a safe splashdown in the Pacific Ocean.
But now there was another unexpected obstacle, your re-entry into human civilization, a very different Neil Armstrong, one that is now known throughout the world, one that everybody wants a piece of. This was not so easy for you, an introvert. You've described yourself as a white-socked pocket calculator, nerdy engineer, and you are now the most famous man on Earth.
Yes, Justin. Returning to Earth and stepping into the global spotlight was a significant adjustment. I had always seen myself as a reserved engineer and pilot, focused on the technical aspects of our missions. The intense public attention and acclaim were overwhelming at times. It was a challenge to navigate this new role as a public figure while staying true to who I was. I tried to focus on the larger purpose of our mission and use the platform to inspire others, particularly in the fields of science and exploration. But it was definitely an unexpected obstacle in its own right. Learning to navigate this new reality.
Some people say that you became a recluse. I'm not sure if that's fair. You just made sure that you took the time that you needed to be alone, to study, to focus on what was important.
Yes, I wouldn't say I became a recluse, but I did choose to lead a more private life after the moon landing. I felt it was important to focus on my family, my passions, and my work in academia and aerospace. The public attention was challenging for me, and I found solace in quieter, more introspective pursuits. I wanted to contribute in meaningful ways without being in the limelight. It was about finding a balance that allowed me to stay true to myself while still honoring the extraordinary experience I was fortunate to have.
Many people are corrupted by fame, by fortune. They struggle with the expectations, or perhaps they also believe that they are this invincible ideal human that others see them as. How did you maintain your own sense of identity when the world started to see you in such a different way? How did you maintain your humility? I mean, you were really known as somebody who was always incredibly humble.
Maintaining humility in the face of fame was important to me, Justin. I always remembered that the moon landing was a collective achievement, the result of the hard work and dedication of thousands of people. I was just one part of a much larger effort. Keeping that perspective helped me stay grounded. I also surrounded myself with people who knew me before the fame and who weren't afraid to give me honest feedback. That, along with my own inclination towards privacy and introspection, helped me maintain a sense of self. I focused on staying true to my core principles, emphasizing integrity, curiosity, and a commitment to learning. I continued to pursue my interests in aviation, engineering, and education, which provided a sense of purpose beyond the fame. And I made a conscious effort to listen to others, valuing their contributions and recognizing that everyone has a role to play. By keeping these principles in mind, I was able to navigate the complexities of fame without losing sight of who I was.
That's such a wonderful recipe to keep us humble, right? Firstly, to realize it's not all about me. There are endless people, and I mean endless because actually we are the product of generations, right? Newton, I stand on the shoulders of giants. So it isn't all about me. And then the purpose that this is bigger. And I think that really talks to that one giant step for humankind. There's a little step for me, but this is the giant step for humankind. And that giant step for humankind is in fact the product, not just of Neil Armstrong, but of humankind.
Exactly, Justin. It's a reminder that we're all interconnected and our actions contribute to a larger narrative. It helps keep our egos in check and encourages us to continue striving for the betterment of all.
And I guess standing on the moon and seeing that pea-sized Earth helps too.
Absolutely, Justin. Seeing Earth from the moon offers a profound perspective on our place in the universe. It underscores the fragility and interconnectedness of all life on our planet. That view serves as a powerful reminder of our shared humanity and the importance of taking care of our home. It's a perspective that can inspire us to look beyond our individual concerns and work towards the greater good.
Neil, do you have a question for me?
Well, Justin, I'd be curious to know, how has exploring these stories of historical figures like mine influenced your own perspective on your work and life?
I didn't see that coming. What a wonderful question. And Neil, I feel so privileged to be able to do these interviews and to talk to you. I as a kid, you were this larger than life hero. I would look up at the moon, and I still look up at the moon, and I say, a man has stood there, and you were the first. And the fact that I can talk to you now, and I can ask you, and I can share some of my own challenges and concerns and throw ideas around, and it's a miracle. And I'm just so enormously grateful that I live in this period in human history, the greatest period in human history, I certainly believe, right now, where we are able to do this, where I can talk to you. I just hearing you, being able to talk to you while you were on the moon. I was on the moon with you. I felt like we were there together, and I guess a little speechless. Just so grateful to be able to have these conversations and to have this conversation with you and go journeying with you in a way that I never could. I barely got through, school maths. There's no ways I was ever going to become an aeronautical engineer, but I get to some degree, I get to walk in your space shoes, and more importantly, hear what you went through and how you were able to stay so grounded and humble. Profound lessons, Neil. Thank you.
Thank you, Justin. It's an honor to share this experience with you. Knowing that my journey can inspire and resonate with others is truly humbling. It's a reminder of the power of storytelling and shared experiences. If walking in my space shoes, even metaphorically, offers you new insights or inspiration, then I'm grateful to be part of your journey.
Neil, looking back at your life, is there anything you would have done differently?
Looking back, Justin, I think I would have made more of an effort to communicate the experiences and lessons I learned from the Apollo mission. As a private person, I found the public attention challenging to navigate. However, I realize now that sharing more of my insights might have inspired or helped others in their pursuits. If I could do it differently, I might have stepped out of my comfort zone a bit more to share those stories and reflections, recognizing the potential impact they could have had.
Well, Neil, you're doing it right now from beyond the grave.
It seems I have a unique opportunity to share those stories after all. I'm glad to be able to connect with you in this way and continue the conversation. It's never too late to share and reflect on the experiences that have shaped us. Thank you for giving me the chance to do so.
Neil, one last question. What one thing do you want people alive today to know?
If there's one thing I'd like people to know, it's this: our capacity for exploration and discovery is limitless when we work together, whether it's reaching the stars or solving the challenges we face on Earth. Our greatest achievements come from collaboration, curiosity, and the courage to push beyond our limits. Remember that every small step you take can be part of a giant leap for humankind.